Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome into Guest Blade episode number 20. This one is a really fun one for me to be able to do because this knife that I have here in front of me, the Bluefin, is a knife that I've personally been curious about for a while. I've hemmed and hawed, and I've seen it available at a couple of places, and I'm like, do I really want to drop the money on it? I don't know anything about it. It's an odd-looking blade, but there's something that's really attracting me to it. What's the flipping action like? How does this very tall knife fit in the hand? So I've just never done it. But what I did do was a few nights ago, on Instagram, I put up a little post saying, hey, anybody that's got one of these knives, would you mind donating it to the cause, lending it to me to do a guest blade on? Because A, I would like to satisfy the curiosity of any subscribers that I have that have never seen one. And I had to satisfy my own curiosity as well. And I was very fortunate that a buddy of mine whom I've done this with in the past, Joe McNatt, you guys know him as Medic Nat in various places, including Instagram. Go check him out. He says, you know what, I happen to have a Bluefin, and I'm going to be selling it. By the time you guys see this video, if it's not the day I uploaded it, it's probably already sold. He says, I'm more than happy to send it out to you. He says, do your video on it. He goes, and please carry it, use it, play with it, enjoy it, and see what you think. And again, Joe, thank you so much. It's always a great pleasure talking to you and dealing with you. So what I did was I flipped the hell out when I opened the box, because this is a lot more than I expected out of the knife. Now, I'm not going to talk about price yet. I will discuss price, and that's going to be a very important part of why I love this knife. And I'm telling you straight up right now, I love this knife. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do you a favor right now and tell you to pause this video and go over and order one of these. You can either go to leeucustom.com, it's L-E-U custom.com, and order direct. Pohan does take direct orders. His books are currently open. I'm telling you right now, the only reason I'm telling you to stop and do it right now is because after this video gets circulated enough, his books are going to be closed. When you get to experience what I'm experiencing, a lot of people are going to jump on this, and we've seen this happen in the past. And I was telling Poe this in our little brief interactions. I said, you know, I love doing these videos, but it's like a double-edged sword. When I find something I love, and I make a video about it, and I tell people how much I love it, I'm screwed, because I'm probably not going to get one. Because I've seen, talk to makers that went, after you put up your video, I got 60, 80 orders overnight. I went from a 6-month wait to a 3-year wait, or I've closed my books, and this has been on almost every one that I've really had a positive review, glowing review on their product. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a week into after I've uploaded this, you're going to be very lucky to get one. Another great place to go, I know my good friends over at north-to-south-knives.com, Tony and Eric, they just today announced that they are an authorized dealer for Pohan. So go to them as well whenever they have them. And also edcknives.com, Dwayne Weekham is also a dealer for Pohan as well. So let's talk about the knife. This is the Pohan Leu Bluefin, and that's spelled B-L-U-E-P-H-I-N. This thing is a freaking beast. Look how smooth that was. You got to realize this is a huge model. He makes these in a few sizes. I know he makes a 3.5 and 3 3/4 inch. I think he also makes a 3-inch, if I'm not mistaken. And he did mention to me that there was at least one out there that he made that was like 4 1/8 of an inch. So very big, but look how smooth this operates. As far as flipping action goes, I would put this almost identical to flipping that Recenti Snafu that I did the review on a couple of weeks ago. It is a dream, an absolute dream. Now, the whole deal behind this and why I was skeptical at first was about the grind, about the blade. because what you're getting here is atypical for what you see in a modern folding tactical knife. What this is called a Scandi grind, a Scandinavian grind, where your flats are huge, very, very tall, and you only have a single bevel. So you have no secondary bevel. Let's say you're looking at a knife with a hollow grind. You're going to have your flat, you're going to have your primary bevel, and then a secondary bevel that actually forms the V that is your cutting edge. What you're getting here is essentially a zero grind. You've got your very tall flats. They're doing one single grind here with no secondary bevel. Then there are some major advantages to this because what you're getting is a very strong, very stout cutting edge. Think of it as a flipping bushcraft. I mean, you can take this out and go whacking with it, go batoning with it. You've got a very, very, very strong edge. Now, over the years of use, what's going to happen is you've got an extraordinarily razor-sharp edge. When you get a Scandi grind, you can go down to an absolute, and I do mean scalpel sharpness. And this does exhibit that. I've played with it a little bit, and it's ridiculously sharp. So over the years of use and resharpening, what you're actually going to end up with is a convex grind, which is also going to be able to be nice and sharp, and it's going to be very, very, very strong. So a lot of people look at this knife like I did initially and went, there's a lot that I like about it, but I'm unsure. This looks really weird, this big flat, and then just this little grind. Because we're used to seeing, a nice tall bevel line, like on my Barely Legal right here. That's kind of what we're used to seeing. And there you have such a small bevel. But here's your primary bevel, and there's your secondary bevel that creates your edge. You don't have to worry about rolling the edge. It's super easy to sharpen and to strop because you're literally finding one angle, and that's it. One single angle to do your stropping on, your sharpening. It's a very easy to maintain grind. And it provides insane, insane sharpness. Now, I did message back and forth a few times with Poe and asked him, basically about his methodology and how he makes his knives. I said, how do you consider your knife? Do you consider it to be a custom or a mid-tech or something in between? And he told me something quite remarkable. Before I reveal what that is, I want you to realize that what I'm holding in my hand, you'll be able to find typically at dealers, and that's again before this video comes out and before people that have never heard of it hear of it and start wanting to buy it. I'm not talking about secondary market. I mean direct from Poe or direct from one of his authorized dealers. What I'm holding in my hand is $575. I think with the Lightning Strike, I don't know if it may go up a couple of dollars more, but your standard variation, carbon fiber or Lightning Strike, titanium, and that blade is going to be $575. I'm not talking to the average Joe customer out there when I say this. I'm talking to the real collectors that have been in the game for a while and seen a lot of makers and a lot of price points and have sampled a lot of different kind of custom knives. In the world of custom knives, that's really not a big investment. That's a medium price range, small to medium price range. Here's what's amazing about this. The knife is completely hand-built. Let me repeat that. It is completely hand-built. No CNC or water jet is being used to form the handles or the blade. He uses only a manual mill, period. So there's no CNC, there's no water jet. He even does his own heat treat in-house. Fully custom made. He does all the cutting, all the drilling, profiling, shaping, everything by hand. And this comes directly from him. I'm not using a secondary source for that information. Guys, really rack your brains and think of the few truly handmade knives. I mean, you're in the league now of Mayos and Southards and Rexfords. This is just under $600. IKBS bearings, which explains why it's so unrealistically smooth. Now you've got to realize this is a very thick, very tall, very heavy blade, yet it flips phenomenally well. Matter of fact, there are not a lot of knives out there at this beastly of a size and the weight of the blade that will flip as well. This is putting you just a little slower than a Bodega. But you got to realize the Bodega has a much slimmer blade with double ground, hollow ground blade. Even a large fuller cut out of it. It weighs a hell of a lot less in the blade than this does. This is a serious knife. You've got to really want to carry a big heavy knife to want this. Now again, he does make one or maybe even two sizes smaller. So here's what I did. I messaged him. I said, please, if your books are open and have the availability, put me in for two. I want to order 2 spots right now on your books. I'm going to get one in this size and one in the 3.5 inch size. I have to own this. Now, as you guys very well know, nothing in this world is perfect. So we're going to go through the list of pros and cons right now as we do a nice up-close HD look. So we'll start here at the blade. The grind is even. It's stupidly sharp. He's got a nice clean satin finish across the monster flats. There's his name etched into the side of the blade. Very low profile flipper tab. While it doesn't have a choil per se, you do have a recessed area that is non-sharpened so that you can choke up on the knife for finer cutting tasks. Standard pivot. In this price range, all is forgiven. Yes, I always like to have a custom pivot, but again, this is not a $700, $800, $900 knife or above. Nice clean bolster work, and what I have to say is seamless integration between the blasted 6AL4V titanium and the Lightning Strike carbon fiber. Notice also how he's bringing both materials around here to this relief cut, and everything is contoured. Nicely contoured. This is a very comfortable knife to hold and play with. Contoured all of the edges, all the way around. Everything is perfectly matched from the back spacer to the titanium to the Lightning Strike carbon fiber. It's a wonderful fit and finish. Again, remember, this is all formed, all done by hand and hand tools, not CNC, not water jet. Really nicely done. Nice, clean. Actually, this is a bead blast and stonewash finish. I didn't realize that before until the lights hit it just right. Pocket clip. Okay, you guys know me when it comes to pocket clips. For me in a knife, when it exceeds $400, I think that's kind of my cutoff. When it exceeds $400, no matter how, and this is a really good clip, great retention, fits nice. It's not a full deep carry, so you can actually grab onto something. It's useful. But over $400 should have some sort of customized clip. Whether it just be a bar of titanium that's been 3D sculpted. Doesn't have to be a completely hidden screw design like the Vandermeulen. You do something like Dave Curtis does. This is a knife that costs less. Well, not mine. Mine costs a hell of a lot more. But standard F3 costs less than this. And that's just basically a stamped clip. But he does a nice water jet job to it to make it different, to make it custom. It could be a nice 3D sculpted titanium clip like what we see on the Shirogorov. Or you could get super wild and crazy and do something like Todd Begg does. But regardless, for me, I want it to match up to the quality of the rest of the knife. A lot of makers, the clip is a secondary thought to them, almost an afterthought in some cases. So for me, I'd love to see a custom clip. Now, what I don't know, and I'm pretty certain that he would, I'm pretty certain that if you said, hey, I want a custom 3D titanium clip, I'm very certain that he'll make one for you. Because again, everything is done in-house and by him by hand. So it's not like he has to go, oh, I can't order this and I got to water jet at least 50 to make it worth my while. I'm very certain he could do that. So I'm not necessarily knocking it. I'm just saying it more of a mild suggestion. You've got a beautiful friggin' knife here. Love to see a beautiful clip to complement it. Nice, clean, even lock bar cutout. His lock bar tension is phenomenal. No need whatsoever for any kind of over-travel disc or whatnot. You're never going to overextend this, but it's not so much pressure that you're dragging unnecessarily on the blade for deployment or closing. Nice solid lockup with very good lock geometry. Take a good look at that. And again, all these edges are radiused. It's comfortable to disengage the lock. Comfort is a very big deal for me, especially for a knife like this that when you look at it, you go, that is made for hardcore use. Yes, it could be a collector's knife. Yes, it would look good in a display case. Yes, it'd be cool just to carry and show off. Yes, it'd make a really great letter opener. This is the kind of knife that you could go out in the woods with and just beat the living shit out of it and not have to worry about it because that's what that Scandi grind is for. So you do have a utilitarian knife here. And that was one of the things I love, that it has a utilitarian look. It's a little dressed up with the Lightning Strike carbon fiber, but that's just the one that Joe bought. There's standard carbon fiber and whatnot. So it was nice, clean bolster look, nothing ornate, no anodizing, nothing crazy. It's a very straightforward, down-to-business kind of look, in my opinion. Now, the only cons that I really truly have on this knife, and again, the operation is not hindered by these cons. It is stupid smooth, really nice flipper. I enjoy playing with it. I enjoy playing with it a lot. The jimping. It is super crazy jimping with a very severe thumb ramp. I can guarantee you put your thumb on that and you could stab into a friggin' bank vault. No matter how quickly that blade stops, your thumb is not going to slide up off of this. The problem is because it is such a severe thumb ramp, the jimping, which is very, very sharp, is pointing back at you. It's not at a less of an angle where your thumb is resting on it. Your thumb is sticking into it. And it's very, very sharp. It's almost chainsaw sharp, to be realistic. The jimping doesn't need to go down as far down as it does because it's not making any contact with anything. But it sure looks nice, so screw it. It looks cool. That's awesome. I don't see a reason for it being here. There's no glass breaker on it. You've got a little bit of an extra little hook there that you could be, knocking people out with, I suppose. Could be used for that, but again, it's not really intended for that, so I don't see the need for the extra jimping, but it does look cool, and maybe that's all it was there for. Because as you look at it from the profile, then you look down, you're like, oh, hey, check out all that jimping down there. So again, that's not really a knock, but it is a little sharp for my tastes. Utilitarian, yes, but it's going to be a little bit rough on you. The only really serious thing is going to be the flipper tab. Now, not everybody is going to contour their flipper tabs like Todd Begg. And I always use this for an example because he really has done a flawless job. It's comfortable on your finger. There's not a single sharp edge here. Jeff Vandermeulen also did an excellent job on his. There are no sharp edges. You look at the Shirogorov. No sharp edges. And, these things are rockets. If this were radiused, this would be damn near the perfect knife. It's not as painful to flip open as that Graham Midnight Razel that I very recently purchased and then sold. But you do feel it. See that? And that's what those sharp corners do. Maybe you're not like me. Maybe you don't flip your knife 200, 300, 400 times a day. But maybe you are. And you just want something that's going to be ergonomic and comfortable for you. I'm going to tell you this right now. With the seamless integration of the materials, the beauty of the contouring, the insanity of the blade, the sharpness, the performance, the fluidity in which it operates, the perfect feel of everything on this knife. I will own multiples of one of these. 2 different sizes at least, probably more down the line. And I would highly suggest, if you've ever listened to me in the past, and I know a lot of you have, get on his order books now. Get something ordered. I don't think his turnaround time is all that long either. You need to own one of these. Maybe it doesn't have to be this big monster 3 3/4 inch variation. Go a little smaller if you must, but get one. Experience how this feels. Experience how it flips and how beautifully smooth it is in operation. I mean, that's crazy smooth. And maybe, just maybe, if Poe happens to see this and experiments on just one knife, making that a little bit rounder, we'll see. Who knows? But all I could say to Poe is, dude, I am immediately impressed. It's a knife I've been curious about. I never made the leap on. I've never reached out to you in the past. Now I am not even in love. I am in lust. I want to lick this knife. I want to do dirty things to this knife. I want this knife to do dirty things to me. So I can't wait to get 1 or 2 of my own very, very soon. All right, guys, I'm going to step on out of here. Good night. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see more guest blades coming in the very, very near future. Thanks, guys.